Welcome back. As you would have known if you were watching a little earlier, we were live to Saray Khumalo from Kathmandu in Nepal. She is, of course, the first black African woman, I should say, to summit the world's highest mountain, and that is Mount Everest. She joins us now from Kathmandu in Nepal. And Saray, we were talking to you just a little earlier, and you were describing, what it feels like to come back and to find out that the whole country, many South Africans had been cheering you along all the way.
Yeah, I think that was the most humbling experience. I said to Jeanette, who's been helping me with a lot of the logistics, to say, am I in trouble? She was like, people want to talk to you. I said, what have I done now? Because, a lot of things happen in the mountain, and when you come back from either a 5-day rotation or summit push, you come back, you are first, appreciating what you've just been through, trying to celebrate the success and mourning some of the losses that we've had. I wasn't expecting a whole lot more with it, but I was aware, taking on the project, that it was big and it needed to be done. I think it's maybe one of the reasons that I kept pushing, even after failing so many times before.
Saray, you're talking about those losses. You lost 2 members on this trip. I can't imagine what that must do to your mindset, how you come to grips with that.
So it is reported that we lost 2. In fact, we only lost 1. Ravi, the Indian climber, was part of the same logistics team, the company, but he wasn't part of our team. So we only lost 1. But even then, 1 life is 1 too many. It's sad, but it's the reality of climbing. You go in knowing that this is a possibility. I think even when it happens, especially to someone like Shemesh, who was just an amazing climber, faster than every one of us, it shocks your system and takes a bit of time to accept and realize what has just happened. Having said that, it's like anything else. I always say to my friends and family, you get up, you get onto N1, and there's an accident, some survive and some don't, and some pass as if nothing ever happens, and on that very same spot. It's the same as climbing. Very unfortunate, but the reality of climbing and of life as we know it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, Saray, one of South Africa's top climbers that we've been speaking to as well through your journey, spoke to us about that phenomenon of preparing yourself as a climber, in fact, making peace with the fact that you may not make it back.
Yes, I think it's something that you think about. You look at your will, like many things that we do, big things in our lives, but you don't expect it. You know it's a possibility, but it's a remote possibility. But so when it happens, it's still a shock. Like a relative that has a long illness, just because they had a long illness and we knew they were going to die because they are now dead, doesn't make it okay. It still shocks your system. And it's the very same thing with climbing as well. Maybe unfortunate in climbing, it takes people with so much hope, big dreams, crazy ideas, amazing people that we meet, which makes it a lot more sad.
And Saray, how does your own family come to terms with the very real danger that you are in when you attempt an incredible feat like this?
I think, look, I've got 2 boys. They are 16 and 21. We talk about it. They know that I'm not going to take risks that are unreasonable. I'm not going to put my life at risk. The mountain will always be there, but life not unfortunately not always. So we call them life-preserving steps. I think the promise that I'm going to take life-preserving steps gives comfort to not only myself, but also to my family in terms of what I do.
Well, when you spoke to them after summiting Everest, they must have been elated.
They were. I did take longer than anticipated. We didn't take a cell phone to the summit, unfortunately, this time. So I only spoke to them when I got to base camp. But yes, they were very happy, and they obviously had heard it through the news. But knowing that the summit is only half the journey, they were all eagerly waiting for me to contact them when I got to base camp. So, yeah, it is quite a little celebration for us and something that we've been working on for quite a few years now.
Sarah, let's just go back to now that you've been able to reflect on the journey. Was there a moment when you were summiting where you thought, actually, I don't think I'm going to make it this time either? I can't take another step. Was there ever that moment?
No, absolutely not. Not this time. You know, I always have these songs that go through my head, and one song that goes through my head is, you know, I haven't brought you this far to leave you, and that goes through my head all the time and helps me take the next step. I was very confident, not because I was over-prepared, because somehow I knew that, you know, God has got this. All I'm doing is just making a step and taking the next one. So I think this time also I had very good support. I don't know, Hannah is quite a warrior behind you. If you slow down, he pushes you to take another step. What's happening, you know? So no, there was no option of giving up. Was not an option. Absolutely not.
And what is, I mean, you've now summited Mount Everest. I mean, just to even say that out loud must be incredible. What is next now for Saray Khumalo?
Well, there's a lot of other projects underway, but we take it one step at a time. Let's get back home. Let's reflect, and then, see what next year brings and the year after. There's a lot more to do. I think the fact that I summit with a purpose, which I think, you know, it's about trying to get more young kids into education, trying to build more libraries. There's a lot more work out there. I think there's a lot more summits. There's a lot more mountains to climb. There's a lot more work that we can do together through this project.
Well, Sarah, we have run out of time, but I'm so reluctant to let you go. It's just so wonderful to be speaking to you. Perhaps just give us one last message for young people, for young women, you know, who have their very own Everest that they might be facing.
Yes, absolutely. Giving up is not an option. It doesn't matter where you come from, where you're at, what curveball has been thrown at you. Keep going, because the summit is just next door. It's just the next step.
Incredible, incredible. Thank you so much. Saray Khumalo, live to us there in her first ever interview, live from Kathmandu in Nepal. She is the first black African woman to summit Mount Everest. Can you believe it, Sandile? Incredible woman.
What I want to know is, can Bafana Bafana conquer their own Mount Everest, which is the 2019 AFCON tournament?